Welcome to another video of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today I want to talk about um, are you actually a psychic? And I think the best psychics don't know they're psychic. And the people who think they're psychic and think they're spiritual may not be the best psychics. So, having a psychic ability, I think everyone could have that ability. And your way to your psychic ability could be unique. But to be like a professional psychic, um, you might belong to a different category. And so I'm going to go over some things, some like personality traits and characteristics that kind of separate the masses of spiritual psychics, um, curious people, and then the elite group. And, this is just my thoughts on the whole matter. So it's not definitive. Who am I? You know, through my journey in life, I've met all kinds of people with different abilities and different strengths of those abilities. And I've witnessed people with very strong abilities not be able to make it functional for themselves and others due to there's usually two things that stop people from benefiting from psychic abilities. So let's just say yes, you have them, or you have a friend who's psychic and gives you great information. A lot of people drop the ball when it comes to taking action. You know, they might not take care of their health. So that makes it a lot harder to get what you want out of life, materialize those things. Uh, so, not taking care of your health, and that would include mental, emotional, and physical health. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to be like super intense about it, but you have to have some natural discipline uh, towards your health and being good standing uh, to either be the psychic or utilize the psychic information uh, without self sabotaging. So you can sabotage the information coming in due to your character development. And you can also sabotage the use of that information as a client due to bad personality and character development. So, and so those that would I would say is the number one thing that stops humans from really tapping in and developing their potential as a true psychic uh, with no extras attached. Uh, what would I consider an extra attachment? Um, Working with entities to enhance your power, maybe doing spell work, believing believing that some divine spiritual force is assisting you. That would all be an attachment to kind of make up for a loss. That loss could be poor self-esteem. That loss could be well, I'd say that would be it, honestly. Because I think not having a good self-esteem would make you not try, not be bold, not trust the information coming in, being afraid to share that information, afraid of retaliation, afraid of being wrong. This all happens because of poor self-esteem. So we see really fast how we as human beings mess it up. And so we have a whole bunch of excuses Oh, the energies and the stars were misaligned. Oh, you have to follow these rules and formulas for manifestation. And I'm here to say, no, psychic stuff, psychic information is real, it's factual, it happens. It's not subject to some new age paradigm about how the laws of the universe work. It's not magic. It's the ability. So, psychic means mind. If you're very clear minded, you can get a glimpse of whatever. You can get information using the power of your mind, transcending basic logic, basic memory, basic thinking. So it's a higher mind faculty that's expressed as intuition or a true psychic hit. Um, and so that's what what I consider a psychic. You may specialize in any of your five senses. You may have strengths and weaknesses with any of those five senses on how that information is processed for you, but the reality is you're able to grasp that information, that frequency, that energy. And so look how quickly it kind of got new age spiritual. Frequency, energy, vibration, resonance, quantum fields. Whoa, a lot of big words to try to explain something very simple. You can gather information with your mind. Period. End of story. No, but it has to be special and it has to be spiritual. No, that could be the smoke and mirrors limiting you from accessing your full potential. There doesn't have to be something special about it. And so special sometimes means hard, we kind of pedestalize. You might have to work towards it, so once again, we get in our own way. So let's see, we talked about our physical health. Okay, and then it kind of now we talk about the other thing that gets in your way is belief systems, narratives on how Hollywood presents psychic abilities. Someone being stunned and receiving a vision and everyone's mind blown, and it happens exactly as seen like in a movie or in a dream. Can that happen? Yes. Is that the norm? No. Because we got to remember psychic abilities is natural. It's not special. It's not spiritual. It's not supernatural. It's natural. You're receiving information in some way that seems to be beyond your five senses. And it still is within the mind. It's still mind. It's consciousness. It's awareness. You're able to somehow grasp it, attract it, be attracted to it, this information. Could it be an advanced mental process going on inside of you? Yeah. So I've noticed, well, okay, so there's different ways to access it. Sometimes it's high intelligence. Sometimes it's low intelligence. Sometimes it's very interested, passionate, curious people. And other times it's the exact opposite. So it's people who don't want it, who are not curious about it, have zero interest, and they just happen to have it. And so in a weird way, it's like they're always running away from it. And they're always discounting their abilities. And they're always minimizing it, saying, that was luck. That was just an idea. It just happened to be so. It just happened to be so. And so you can find a lot of excuses why it's not happening for you, why it's not happening for your clients. You can also find excuses why it's always happening. And oh no, that's not part of reality. Oh no. And so in a weird way, atheists make really good psychics. Um, cynics can make a really good psychic. Investigators make good psychics. Uh, and so it can be an unlikely personality. We tend to think a psychic is going to be surrounded with crystals, chanting, burning incense, and communicating with divine beings and having a news flash that you're. And really, a lot of that gets in the way. I would call that a lot of self soothing, a lot of hypnosis and trance. And so, if you have to be in an altered state to receive psychic information, you may not be a good candidate for psychic abilities. If you need a technique, these are all tools to help you develop your abilities better, but but hence you have to use those tools means you're not already at that elite psychic level. So humility, you know, burst that pride, that ego, that grand assumption of who we would like to be. Burst it so you can be it. Say, okay, I need to use a crystal. Great. Now, without feeling bad about it, use it. And so I use crystals. Crystals definitely help me. So instead of seeing your tools as a negative, honor. So it's kind of like telling you two things. They assist you and it opens your mind to more wonder and gratitude and mystery, but then it also keeps you humble. Where are you at in your psychic development? And how far can this go? We really don't know how far we could push the limits. Um, your status quo might be someone else's elite level. So we all have an idea in our mind, a goal, a vision, an idea of what it looks like. And it could be really too big for yourself, or it could be too small for yourself. So you kind of see this paradox going on what's going on. So I really have a friend who is really good at shamanism, natural born psychic. She lost her ability towards psychic stuff because she was doing a lot of plant medicine. And you would think that would open you up. But if you're already open, it's medicine can become poison when you're not handling it appropriately and using it. Was that the only thing? No. So do you see how it's very case by case? And you really have to kind of learn and know who you are. Hence, the self-confidence comes from knowing thyself. You can't trust yourself unless you know yourself. And trusting yourself a lot, well, that's confidence. And so the other factor that got in the way was her religious views. She wants her religion to be real when, you know, she, and it's not. So you're putting on, when you put, so when you give credit to a deity, when you give credit to a force outside of yourself, you're denying your inner gifts. You're denying reality. So you're like putting blinders on. So, and I would say also, so was it just these two things? It was a few more things. Overindulging in party substances, lifestyle choices, living hard, it takes its toll on your body. So, through lots of observation, and we could see how some people are super talented at elite level of spiritual gifts, which I put in a different box, and psychic abilities, and they usually go hand in hand, and one enhances the other and back and forth. But this video is really just about psychics, okay? So you can see how it was that person's own choices. What did they do with the information? What did they do with the freedom of the life that they have that ruined them from being a credible, powerful spiritual leader and psychic? It all came down to personality. It all came down to choices. And so this kind of introduction isn't, it's saying you have so much more control over if you're going to succeed as a psychic or fail as a psychic. And so there were a lot of choices to make. You know, how living a hard party lifestyle is going to wear and tear on your nervous system and your brain. You know, being out of balance is kind of what we're talking about. Being so into your spirituality, and then also being into multiple religions that conflict with each other. Imagine what that's going to do when the information is coming to you. How do you sort that out? You know, so imagine, so we have a filter. A filter is made through our past experiences, our beliefs, our judgment, our personality. There's a lot of things going on that create this filter. And so if you're have a thick filter, it's hard for you to get the clean information through, and you might not like the information coming through, so it can block you from being a really powerful psychic. So, or at least seeing the big picture. So you can think of it like that. A psychic just sees more of the picture because they're not limiting themselves. They haven't been so conditioned. So there's I would call it a narrative that's not true. That people who tend to be traumatized are spiritual or have spiritual gifts due to we call it disassociation, breaking free from the body because it was so traumatic. Maybe not. Maybe that's a solid case for needing some psychological help. So, but I'm not exactly saying that's not true either, you know, because once again, I have a couple of really powerful female shaman friends. Both of them were traumatized as children, and both of them are like off the charts amazing. So did trauma, was that part of the catalyst that helped them go into a bigger reality? Who knows? So, but here's my list, okay? So the first thing that you need is actually the ability to be observant. And this is gonna, you know, if you're observant of your dreams, if you're observant of your environment, if you're observant of how your body feels. So it doesn't exactly have to be details that you would think, you know, names, numbers, signs, symbols, you know, like stop signs, you know, and crosswalks, and what she is wearing, and like it doesn't have to be like to that extreme. It can be, but you are just very aware, very observant, and you can maybe hold that in your mind, and you can start going, I observed this day, I observed these things today, I observed that, and then hold it in your memory, and then be able to like kind of look at it and go, what is going on? There's a pattern in these symbols, in these synchronicities. If you have, so we see how being observant leads to pattern building, which could lead to really important information. If you're really good at that, your that could help with your psychic abilities. That could help you understand your environment and your world, and that can help when pulling in information from, I would call it, different channels, different stations, different formats. If you're able to gather that information, you're getting it from more than one source. So you're not just seeing one color of the rainbow, you're seeing all the colors of the rainbow, and you see it's a rainbow. So you're kind of getting a bigger picture through being more aware and more observant and being able to take in more information. And a really important part, organize it. So you'd have to have been curious about psychic abilities. And so if you have a natural curiosity towards what is happening, why am I seeing the future, or why do I know this information when I haven't read the book on it? Where is this information? So so you could have curiosity about you being the psychic, receiving all the information. You could have curiosity about how does this work mechanically. And this is where I fall into the range. I would say I'm not a hard believer in anything, but I want to know how things work. So this is just another curiosity for me on how things work. So I'd say I don't have an agenda with my atheism, but I'm not a believer, So I have no real religious belief system. So this is part of being open-minded and neutral. What I believe in doesn't say a lot about me, so I don't have a lot to lose if someone all of a sudden told me, or I figured out what I believed in wasn't real. Then I'd be like, okay, no problem. That doesn't hurt. Nothing to defend against, because it's not a big deal. I don't have a religion. I don't think science is the answer to everything. I don't think religion is totally worthless. So you kind of have to be open-minded, have some gray area in your life. So the third thing was being open-minded. So the first one was observation. Second one is general curiosity or interest. If you don't have it and you have that potential, you'll probably just filter it out, not look at it, and go about your day. And so you wouldn't be watching this video. So the other thing is patience. Because you kind of, in a weird way, are ambivalent, you don't care too much either or in that moment, the information coming to you might not be such a big deal. You're willing to be patient. You understand life's a process. Information coming to you is a process. You might enjoy sitting back and reflecting and watching the show on how it's all happening. You might also, so being patient with the development process, with the understanding. So maybe you don't have to develop it, you got it going on. But maybe you just want to understand how it mechanically it's working. How is this information coming to me? How is it being sorted out in my brain? And so it's a kind of a science where you're observing, taking notes, whether they're just, okay, I noticed that. Okay, I noticed that. Oh, so that's how it works. Okay. So you're just kind of figuring it out. It takes patience. How does this information transmit to my client? Yes, I'm speaking, but energetically, there's other things going on. And so it's like, to give an example, if I see clairvoyantly some psychic phenomenon, it raises more questions. It doesn't validate beliefs inside of me and shut doors. It opens doors of more unknown, more mystery, more curiosity, more puzzles. And so, in a weird way, It's like the more you know, the more you don't know. The more you see, the more you know you don't see. So you could find yourself once again in this weird gray zone paradox of it's not exactly self doubt because you know what you're seeing, but you may not be able to explain it. And you might have to wait a while for either other people to catch up and give it, or you might have to wait a while until that information comes to you in some way. So that's happened to me many times where all of a sudden I stumbled across a book and that person was having similar experiences. And then I was like, and they help give it a name, they help give it understanding, you know. Uh, so patience. A good example of patience is long time ago when I was a kid, around 19 years old, I worked in a hotel with my boyfriend. And we were bored one day. And so we just like on a piece of paper, lined paper, wrote like 1 to 100. And then we wrote, is it going to be a heart, a star, a wiggly line? Like we had 5 symbols to choose from, and we randomly selected and went all the way down to 100. And then we gave ourselves a test on psychic abilities. Um, I would guess for number 1, number 2, number 3, and then we saw how we did. And so you have to be so first time around it wasn't easy. We didn't score so well. Um, Also taking into mind precognitive. So you have to look at the pattern. It's not a one for one. It's like if I notice with all the answers, the answer that person is giving is 3 steps ahead. That's signs of precognitive. Not exactly. So that you could fail your test because you're giving future answers. So, and then if you have the ability to see in the past, if all of your answers are 3 steps behind. So, there's a lot of things to take into consideration for a straight up psychic test. So, the part that became patient is okay, I won't rush it, even though I scored higher on precognitive. So that's why I brought that up. Then I went, okay, let's do this again. This time, I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to allow whatever to come to my mind. I'm not just going to go with the first thing that comes to my mind. When I did it that way, I slowed down. I just let it bubble up, let it just kind of like appear. My score was pretty high. And so for me, the effort was slowing down. The effort for me was being patient, which is totally not my personality. Like, if you know Aries, patience is not one of their things. It's like, when do you want it? Yesterday. so, so just pointing that out. So, if it's really important information, you might have an emotional charge. You might be super excited or you might feel desperate. That can totally cloud your crystal ball, so to speak. Being able to be patient, being able to be open minded, being able to be observant could all add in your success rate. And so, why should a really important answer to a really important question happen immediately? Why can't it unfold over a week? Where is that nuclear testing ground at? Why should it be like in the movies? Oh my gosh, I had a vision. It's right there. Go team, go. How about it unfolds through a series of dreams? All of them are correct. All of them. So you might have like a movie type dream where you see act 1, act 2, act 3. And then finally it all comes together and you're like, oh my God, it's Disneyland. So the way that information organizes itself to help you understand what it's giving you uh, is a bit of a mystery and may take a lot of patience. So we've really kind of talked about all these other ones. The willingness to be wrong. The other one is with patience comes discipline. So you might have a really good talent for it, but you don't have enough experience. So you're going to have to do a lot of readings or investigations, whatever you're going to do with your abilities. And the discipline gives you the experience. The discipline gives you the confidence. So discipline can make up for a lot of shortcomings in your personality, in your choices that you've made over a while, and in your low talent ability. Because it's going to develop patience, it's going to develop focus, it's going to develop all the things that you need over time and basically fix the structure. But we live in a society that's not truly disciplined in the psychic field. And so the video is going to run out soon. So this is why sometimes people who have a lot of faith and belief or working with other things fail to be really great at it because they never develop the discipline within themselves. A true psychic can just do it. It comes from within, It's a part of their expression of who they are and how they interact with the information that makes up our world. So we all do that. We just do it at different levels and we direct it towards different things. So you might be directing it towards your school and very linear things. It doesn't mean there's not a psychic part of you assisting you into whatever it is that you're doing, research, whatever your job is, however you live your life. It's that constant companion. It's not separate from yourself. It's not a higher self. It's you. It's not an angel. It's you. It's not God. It's you. But you who you think you are so much more than your body. So the other thing is, since it's going to cut out really soon, finding your sweet spot between tension and ease. When you're in that sweet spot, when you found that zone, you can deliver psychic information.